concepts, grassroots poetry. We really finna go crazy. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like I said, I met you about to be 5 years from now. 2022. That's
3 years,
3 years.
3 years. Oh my word, it'll be 4 soon.
My bad, y'all. I don't know how to count. But you shown a lot to me as somebody that like myself. I have empathy and sympathy, right? But sympathy comes first, then empathy, right? So I always like to put myself in somebody's shoes, and then I try to damn, how is this person doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, what drives this person to do this, bro?
Mm-hmm.
That's always in the back of my head, right? Like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So for the first question, bro, I want to ask you and before we start, seeds, guys, as you guys know, as we tapped into, if you have tapped into what do you have in your garden podcast, you guys know that seeds represents decisions, trials, tribulations, things that will help you enhance your vision. Your garden, when I say the garden, when we say the garden, it represents life, your life. So, bro, like what seeds have you planted in your life that you are most proud of today?
I would say my belief in my ability to produce something uh through my poetry.
Okay.
Right. I didn't initially started off. I didn't initially start off wanting to be a poet. I wanted to be a rapper. Right. Amongst other things, I wanted to be a lawyer and other things. But
Yeah.
But creatively, I wanted to be. Well, I guess a lawyer could be quite creative too, actually, potentially. But in a more creative sphere, I wanted to be a rapper, and then I wanted to be a poet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all revolving around my use of words and writing, right, and sharing.
Right.
So I'm very proud of that, man. That I believed in that, and that I continue to believe in it. Because it for different folks, it could they could believe in themselves more. They could believe in themselves less, depending on what's transpired. But I still believe wholeheartedly in what I'm doing, and I would say that is a seed that I'm very proud of. Is my belief in being able to make that happen.
Right, bro. And to piggyback on that, just because
Yeah.
that was such a great question. When did you find your confidence in poetic speaking?
You know what? I've always been kind of an outgoing person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was never really shy about that,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that comes from potentially one from my parents aren't necessarily shy folks either, um, but I think that stems from moving around so much as a young person, and so me
Had
making
to adapt.
yeah, but I mean you have to adapt either way, but the decision to interact or become antisocial is still one that has to be made.
Wait, bro. Wait, time out. Y'all heard that? That was a seed. That was a seed that was just dropped. I hope you guys heard that. The choice to interact.
Yeah, and so
God, that's powerful, bro.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a young person that's moving around to different places. Young people are resilient. Humans are resilient.
Yeah.
And so a youngster will adapt. They'll find a way, whether it's a healthy way or an unhealthy way. But I made the decision to kind of, talk to make friends.
Okay. Let's talk, bro.
And so that required being outgoing and to not be shy sharing and talking. So I think that's where part of that confidence came from was partly because my parents instilled confidence in me.
Right.
And then I had to move around so much. I had to either make a choice: do I be lonely, or do I make friends, or do I try to talk to people? And so I chose to talk to folks.
Yeah, bro. I see that in you, and I mean, the first time I met you, bro, you always had open arms. I'm like, damn, he really loves people.
Mm.
Like, all right, God, thank you for sending me one of yours. You know what I'm saying? That's how I think, bro. Like I'm more of a spiritual type of observer. Like, I just don't look at the person and what they're doing. I look at their personality. I look at their morals. I look at their concepts. CordonConcept. Y'all got that, bro? I look at all that, right? And then
Yeah.
and then that allows me to be more open with them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But the only reason why I can do that is because what they already showed me spiritually, not like in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that really gravitated me, not only just being like a young man that has a vision, you feel me, but as a poet, you know, and as a visionary. I'm like, bro, this dude hella dope because like number one, he loves people. I know he know of God, and I know he stand on anything and everything he say. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, I gotta really tap in with him to observe him, so I can get the nutrients that I need to help grow my garden, and not just for me, but for we and then others. You know, and so that's why I'm grateful that you allow me to be a part of grassroots poetry, because grassroots poetry has really changed my life. Let's take a quick break, y'all. I just want to say something right quick. My grandmother died in 2022. That's the time when I met Jose. And me and my wife went to the open mic on Salarat Cafe. And that's the first time I ever did Beautiful Roses, the poem. That was the first time I met you. You had like that's the first time I met like majority of people that's in grassroots poetry. You know, even that night was a packed out night in Salarat Cafe. I remember like it was yesterday. And
Was that the one we were filming in?
yes, because Don was there. Don
Yeah,
Black was
that's
there.
right. That's right. That's right.
That was the first one I ever went to. That was the first one. Yeah. And so from there on, I started coming around more and just building a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And I end up building a firm relationship with Jose at the time. We're great now, but that time we grew a firm relationship. And shout out to Freebase Studio because they came up with the promotion of come do your poem or your song at our studio for $10. If y'all missed that promotion, that's y'all fault. I don't know if they had no more promotions like that, but
that was actually myself.
That was you.
Yeah.
So,
so first of all, Freebase is my cousin. Shout out to Freebase.
Freebase.
Yeah. Shout out Freebase. Yeah, no, that wasn't a promotion though. I booked that studio.
Oh, so you did that? Wait, okay, break it down then. My bad.
Yeah, and so what they did then is said, now you could go ahead and use this time. And so we ended up with family, and so we were able to make it happen quite easy. But that was in fact something that I did through All Poetics, right? Again, my initial ambition was not to create grassroots poetry; it was to create a career as a poet.
Right.
And so yeah, that was done separately. And we had another one too, and we will have more. But the plan is once we acquire the Lynn House is to use one of the rooms upstairs to create to create a studio that is only for that is only for poets, right?
My bad, y'all. Disclaimer: if you're not a poet, sorry.
Yeah, it would be for poets. It would be for poets to record just straight spoken word poems, or to record the spoken word poems and then add some of their music behind it. And that is really just trying to capitalize upon the recent addition of spoken word poetry album into the Grammys, right? That happened.
You did big on that though.
Yeah, well that's why that happened. That's why that thing at Freebase happened.
Okay.
Was because I saw the thing with the Grammys happen, and then I saw there's an avenue here. There's another avenue here. Folks were already doing it. Right. That's how they made the category. People were asking for it, but then I saw but now there's now's a good opportunity to dive more into that. So I made that happen, right? In partnership with Freebase, right? In partnership with Freebase. But it was what we did what I did for the poets.
And let me just, my bad, y'all, because that was before Grassroots was born.
I don't
Correct?
know. I don't know.
Because that happened in
It might have been
2022, late 2022, because my grandma just passed. In 2022, 2023. Like,
I could probably tell you.
okay.
Let me see. Yeah, but it was it was in partnership now. And Freebase Studios, if you listen to any of my stuff, like on Spotify, if you go like to YouTube to like some of the music video or to any music video, poetry video, and everything you find on like streaming sites, that's all recorded at Freebase.
Okay.
Right.
Freebase.
Yeah, Freebase. One in Pittsburgh and one in here, but that's all recorded at Freebase. And so we'll continue to partner with them, and then once we create the thing at the Lynn House, then any poet, anybody who wants to make music, Freebase is the place to be. Just for the post, because to be honest with you, all you do is recording vocals. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like like this complicated ass thing. You know what I mean? Which is why I was the one that was recording folks, at that thing,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't know how to work that. That's why they get paid the money they get paid, because they know how to tweak this stuff.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for years. They're really good at what they do.
Yeah.
But I really want to create a lot of the stuff that I do through grassroots poetry and that I do through All Poetics, and what I do through my own desires is to create these opportunities and to solidify, to strengthen the infrastructure that's around for poets, the ecosystem, the community. Part of that,
wow,
part of that is having a audio, essentially like a audio visual room, a recording room, a creative room. I don't know how you want to call that, for poets, right? And we would have that at the Lynn House. What kind of where we're at in figuring out is how we're gonna go about it through which avenue, in terms of, do we do that through grassroots? Do I do that through All Poetics? Right? Because right now it's that business plan is not a part of grassroots. That business plan is a part of All Poetics.
Got you.
Right? Yeah, because again, there's a real clear mission with grassroots, and it's not necessarily just to do poetry.
Right.
It's to build. It's to build community through poetry.
Yeah.
From relationships to real estate.
Right.
Right. So it's to really build a movement and to build power.
Right.
Right. But things for All Poetics is really just focused on the poetry and the career that could be formed around for poets, right? Taking a look at that, events, and really poetry being the main thing, right? And part of that would be, teaching poets or providing more opportunities for poets to connect to podcasts, right? For example, right? To connect to different interviews, to connect to magazines, to connect to different publishers, right? Where they could write a poem and then have it published in a newspaper somewhere. Be able to provide those opportunities in addition to being able to provide their recordings, right? Video recordings and audio recordings. And the cool thing, especially, being partnered up with Freebase, is if they wanted to invest in themselves more, and if they wanted to do additional stuff, they could then take the stuff that they recorded, bring it over to Freebase, and potentially have Freebase create some custom stuff for them.
Right.
Which is how I've done. If you listen to Every Pretty Face, if you listen to Anchor Baby, if you listen to A Poet's Guide, you can find these on Spotify, and you can find 2 videos on YouTube. Those are recorded at Freebase, and it's music that was made from Freebase, custom to the poems, right? Yeah, so there are different avenues. But we're gonna do it again, though. We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, I remember that because that was so monumental in my life. Because at that point in time, I was everywhere. I'm gonna let y'all know something, Pod. As I recorded the poem, I was obnoxious, loud, decided to leave. As I'm leaving through the door, y'all, I'm walking out of the door. Jose comes. He, I said, what? Yeah, who that touching me? Nah. Bro was like, Will, you know? Bro just shook my hand, bro. And what was in that was a seed of $100. Why he gave it to me, y'all? I may never know, but he did. And I was at a, a bad time in my life. So when you did that, bro, I don't know if you remember that or not. You remember that? When you did that, bro, that like I was baffled by the love that wasn't said, but that was acted upon. You feel me? So that's really, to be honest with you, though, bro. Like, I'm like, damn, God, like, you really with this, brother. Because only you could put something out on somebody's heart to do that for me, you know? So I'm forever grateful for that, you know what I'm saying? And so with that, that's why I want to like tap into that because
Yeah, yeah.
and you know, I don't like to really speak on a lot of things of that nature because like it don't need to be spoken upon, you know. But just to give the audience a more, clear picture of who this dope individual I'm talking with right now. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. I appreciate Jose doing that for us as poets because that did allow me to reach a single titled "I'm." So if you guys in Pittsburgh, check out Free Base, downtown Pittsburgh by New Mecca. If you guys like in the Oakland and Hayward area, search up Free Base, man. They rocking with it. They go crazy with it, you know. So again, thank you for that, bro. I just wanted to touch on that with the audience because, and granted, you don't do it for show. You do it because it's love. But I gotta, you did that for me, brother. I gotta let the people know. You feel what I'm saying? So, a question I want to ask you is like, what weeds in your life that you had to remove in order to grow?
I
They could
mean,
be personal,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Probably a few things, a few relationships that were a few relationships that were more or less negative influence on my life, and not negative. Well, yeah, negative, but not necessarily because they were bad folks. Because I myself wasn't in a position or strong enough to resist some of the things. Um,
Transparency, y'all. Transparency, man.
so that, but then also, and I don't know if I would consider it a weed or not, but other desires like I had a dog training business for a while, and it was going quite well, but I had to let that go because it didn't. I loved it, but I loved this other thing more. And since I was, working and I was trying to do these other things, I knew that something had to give, you know.
Sacrifice.
And so
Well, that's good,
I
bro.
decided to give that up over here, stick with these over here, and then eventually I was able to pivot to just this. But yeah, so other dreams I had to let go of. Not saying that it's permanent, because my love for dogs still persists, and I think in the future I would still love to train dogs, you know. But in the moment and for a while, no longer spending time or energy there, and instead investing it over here. So I would say maybe those two things, and then of course, here and there, like right now right now I'm on a little sober tip, I still be smoking, you know what I mean? But just like in terms of drinking. So I've had to do that a few times, give that up. It's certain places to just get back right. So
Right.
that's another one. Yeah, man, I will say those kind of in different aspects, how to let go of a few relationships, how to let go of, some dreams, and how to let go of some habits, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bro, I totally agree. especially now at this point in my life, bro. It's like a urge, and I feel like I'm stuck between picking and sacrificing. Um, is with that question, it was a statement that says that what we remove matters than what we plant, right? And so I've been, I guess, fooling around with things since 2025 to where I haven't removed anything, but I've been planting so much, right? But now I'm at the point where it's like, damn, I can't continue to plant if I'm not removing anything.
So makes some sense, yeah.
What I found out today is like, relationships of that nature, and even personal things is that like, damn, bro, I gotta start removing things from the garden because me personally, if I don't, I'm not gonna literally see what my vision has for me due to the fact that I want my cake and my ice cream. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to sacrifice one or the other. And so thank you for answering that question because that's literally where I'm at right now because I know things are going great for me right now, but it's because that I really haven't sacrificed yet. I haven't sacrificed like, damn, bro, what weeds do I want to pull up? All right, because I'm planting, and the seeds that I'm planting is growing. But what I'm keeping in the garden is slowly killing what I'm planting. And yes, it could be relationships, but it could be what I'm doing, you know? And so
Yeah, most definitely, man.
and that's what I've been really like focusing on this
Yeah.
month. You know what I'm saying? Just really
Okay.
trying to, clean out the garden a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But that starts with my reflection, you know. So thank you
What
for
did
that.
Michael Jackson say? Got to start
With
with the
the man
man in
in
the
the mirror.
mirror.
Oh yeah, yes sir, bro. Yeah, man. Get a little personal right quick. Who or what has helped you water your garden?
Free base,
Free base.
since we were talking about them earlier, but really, Freebase is the company and the brand that encompasses a lot of what they do, but really that they're a family, and so it's the individuals within that family. I would say one that have really watered me along the process, but also of course my parents. I've been blessed with great parents, despite our ups and downs and everything of that sort. Which everybody has relationships with close ones that are have good moments and bad moments.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to have a lot of good moments, with my folks, and so them teachers, mentors like the folks I mentioned earlier. Um, yeah, all of them, man, in different regards, in different ways, but all of them, especially because I haven't always made the best decisions, the smartest decisions, and there's been time where not only have they, to go with the analogy of the garden, sometimes if you got dogs and if they're mouthy and stuff, and if they could get access to your plants, sometimes they'll rip them out, right? Um, and so to take that analogy of the garden, I've had people not only water me but also replant me.
That's good, bro. Yeah,
When
that's good.
I've been not at my best, and in fact at my worst, right? So I've been blessed with a lot of good folks, a lot of good folks that have held me down, that have kept me going. Um, yeah, man, I've been blessed in that regard for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason why I wanted to ask you that question is because um, you carry grace, bro,
Mm,
and a level of understanding that a lot of people don't know
mm,
or never met.
uh-huh.
So the reason why I asked that question because I want to know the answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm asking like, why is this bro? Why is bro so gracious?
Uh,
Why is bro so understanding?
uh-huh.
Why haven't I told him anything? He could call me and be like, bro, it's good. Woo, woo, woo.
Uh-huh.
My thing is why.
Well,
Not now,
yeah,
but in that moment, right?
yeah.
Because like for me, like I'm kind of like self-preserved. Like I don't know if it's hypocritical or it's just like I dibble and dab, right? Like
Mhm,
I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna be transparent, right?
mhm.
Oh, I'm so transparent on things, but then like certain things I may hide from those who I know that like really rock with me, really love me, right? I may hide that, but then
Uh-huh.
out of the blue, like, bro, pull up, like, don't worry about nothing, like, woo. And I'm just like, fuck, like,
Yeah,
I'd be like, my bad, guy, because I'd be feeling guilty because like I didn't tap in, like, bro, I can't do this.
yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that like the reason why I asked that question is like my thing is like, well, I know like God speaks to you for sure, bro. Whether if you know it or not, I know because like I'd be like, damn, I want to participate in this and that, whatever. I can't do it. So I shut down, like, cause I be fine, I be letting niggas down, bro. But then you call me, you be like, I'm like, you
Yeah,
feel me? Dead ass, bro. I'm gonna give you a
yeah.
buck. And I just be like, so that's why I had to ask you that question, because I'm
Of
like,
course, of course.
what does that stand from? Like, but it
Well,
stands from because you had those same people that did that for you.
well, not only that. So that if we want to word it that way, where does my grace come from? Yeah, that is part of it. Um, the other part is me being surrounded by those folks and me seeing them be graceful to others. Yeah, so it's also being around good folks that I've seen that displayed, and I've seen that behavior demonstrated,
Right.
right? Yeah, so I would say
That's
because
good.
I would say because folks have extended that to me, but also I've been around folks who have extended that to others,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that's where it stems from.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro. Bro, I'll be shocked. Like last
yeah,
February, I was like, bro, I almost was like hella emotional, you know?
yeah.
Because me and my wife came,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
we came to Law Poetry.
That's right.
So I was just shocked when yeah, called me. Not, I wasn't shocked that they called me. I was just shocked that like I was down bad. You feel me? And
Mm.
I couldn't make it on my own power.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you had hit me up and you was like,
Of
bro, it's
course.
lit.
Yeah.
And that meant a
And thank you
lot.
for coming.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, I just cause I like to invest in my future, bro.
Of course, of
And if you
course.
guys have ever been to Law and Poetry, if you haven't been, kind of missing out on an elegant, fruitful vibe, you know?
Yeah. And
If you have been, you know what I'm talking about.
I could tell you invest in yourself, just by your setup here and the way you've got everything out and organized, it's clear you invest in yourself.
Well, I mean, yeah, now because I got to that badass car accident in
Yeah, that's right. I
January,
remember you were
it
saying,
put me
yeah.
down bad for like a month. So I'm just now catching up, bro.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
been supposed to, been doing
It's
this,
all
but like,
good.
God knows everything,
Of course.
And so I think that's what keeps me at a calm pace as well.
Okay.
But with that, it's like having individuals like yourself,
Yeah.
like my bro D and
Yeah.
everybody, bro, that knows me that I've been rocking with, concerning the family of grassroots poetry
Mm-hmm.
has literally been uplifting me, bro. DMs, hella shit, you know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying?
of course.
It's just that, we may not publicly speak it because it doesn't need to be spoken
Yeah,
upon.
yeah, yeah.
Because we know,
Yeah, it's felt.
Yeah, it's felt, bro. And so
Yeah.
that's some things that I've learned with rocking with grassroots poetry is that the pure individuals, but because of leadership.
Mm. Appreciate that. Yeah, yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Something I want to piggyback on, bro. I got two more questions, Pod. Side question. Can you tell the people where you from, bro?
Yeah, was born in San Francisco.
That's that.
Lived there for a little bit, and then moved
Frisco.
around a bit. South San Francisco, Daly City. Most of my time has been spent in Antioch, though.
The yacht, man.
But yeah, I spend. I've moved around quite a bit. I moved around quite a bit.
For sure. I respect that.
Yeah. So the Bay Area, I guess you could say.
Bay Area?
Really?
Y'all heard him, though. Y'all heard him. He said San Francisco, but the yacht. I'm from Antioch. You feel me? So, Antioch, bro. Listen. Y'all, listen. People that's in the Bay Area, y'all gonna watch this pod. Y'all gonna see some clips. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say about any of y'all, but y'all been moving out here. Okay, y'all been moving out here. But guess what? What's going on out here? We building, baby. You feel me? We building. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because they be hating on any y'all, cause they be hating on any y'all. That person right there be hating on any y'all too. I ain't gonna say no names, but it's love. So yeah, bro. With that, my bad, Pod. Y'all know how I am, Pod. I like to mix it up. Keep it elegant. Keep it elegant and funny. Big bro. So this may be my last question, and it's not gonna be too in depth, but it's gonna be in depth enough.
Okay.
If your life garden, if Jose's CordonConcept life can speak, what wisdom would it offer to someone that's desiring to plant their own vision? What wisdom can you offer?
I appreciate the question. I don't know how much this will fit into the context. I think your mic fell. I don't know if this is necessarily what I would want my garden to say necessarily, but if there were any young folks who were watching,
yes,
what I would tell them a bit, something that I've discovered. Once you start working, right, for the most part, you will be working until you retire. For the most part, right? Yeah. And now you can retire at 40, you can retire early depending on what you got going on, depending on, you become a millionaire or something. But typically that's going to be later on in life when you retire. So once you start working, you're going to be working until you retire. Typically that's real late in life. But when you start working, this is not the situation for everybody. Okay. So this is for those that kind of have this situation where they have the opportunity to invest in themselves a bit more. And this is what I mean by that. When you first start working as a young person, of course, there's exceptions, but for the most part, you don't have many bills around you, right? Hopefully, if you're coming with a family that's doing what they got to do, hopefully, they don't need your paycheck to make rent. You could support them with rent, but hopefully, it's not a position where you are the earner,
right?
But there's cases like that. Of course, there's cases like that.
Right.
When you start working, for the most part, you don't have these bills. As you start working, you acquire bills through life, whatever that may be. What I would say to those youngsters that are entering the workforce and that do not have these required obligations, I guess I could just say obligations. If there's a possibility for them to invest in themselves, what I would encourage them to do is when they start work, I guess